If I would have told you you feel the way you do right now at the start of training camp, would you have taken it going into week 1?
I'll take that every day of the week. I think I'm in a good spot. I think I've been consistent with my routine, keep my body right, so just got to maintain that through the whole year. It's just a start.
With the continuity and with the full camp, how much do you feel like you guys are just in a great spot from that perspective heading into the season?
Yeah, we really haven't had too many injuries from any position group all camp. That's always positive. I think we've made some good additions throughout training camp too to help bolster some units, and I think everybody's feeling good. Morale is good. Everybody's excited, ready to go.
What does it feel just like year 6 in the same system, and how does that help you?
Yeah, I feel like I've seen just about every look that you can get with all of our different plays. Anytime you are in the same system for that many years, you know all the ins and outs, the weaknesses of each play, and the plays that you can get to attack whatever you're seeing. So I feel like, like I said, I've just seen a lot of different things in a lot of different situations and can adapt accordingly.
What are your initial impressions of Dalton?
I haven't seen him play a lot of football yet, but the conversations that I've had with him, he's high energy. He's going to be a really good locker room guy, and whatever we can get from him on the field will be a positive. I guess I can't remember when we signed Noah. I think it was sometime in training camp, and then signing Mike, whatever day that was, a couple days ago today. I'm not sure, but I think those 3 signings will help us.
What was your reaction like whenever they got Trey done, when they did?
Yeah, that was, he was in here and lifting, running, doing what he needed to do to be ready. And anytime you can get a pay raise like that, nobody's going to be upset about that. So it's good to have him back in the building, and he's going to go be productive like he always is.
How much better does that make you feel about the season, the fact that you guys got that done when y'all did?
Yeah, we know the kind of player that he is. He's going to help us win. So it's good to have him back out there.
To that point, have you had a chance to look back and at the end of the season, we asked you a million questions about T, Jamar, Trey, and how important this offseason was. I mean, you said it on First Take. This is a big offseason for the Bengals. You've got all of them on at least new deals for this season. Have you had a chance to reflect on just how much your voice was important in making that happen for this team this year?
Not particularly. I don't really care to reflect on that. I don't think, I'm not really worried about if my voice carries weight or not. I'm not necessarily sure I was, we have discussions and we have talks all the time about what's best for our football team in the future right now, going forward, a lot of different things. And, I think credit to our front office for getting guys signed. And, that's never easy, dealing with high emotional situations. And we got some really good players this offseason signed and re-signed. We're in a good spot.
Joe, do you have a sense that right now, going into the season, the front office did its job in the offseason? Now it's time for the players, coaches also to step up and do yours.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. We've been put in the right position. We have the guys out there that we need to go and achieve our goals. Now that all that is behind us and we're moving forward, and now it's our time to go perform on the field and be productive.
What gives you the most confidence that you will be productive?
History. All the players that we have in that room have gone and proven it time and time again. And part of being in the NFL is proving it every single day. You're never done. You're always looking to improve, and so production is going to ebb and flow, but over long periods of time with sustained great play, that production will raise and put us in good spots.
What does Noah bring to this offense?
I think he brings an after the catch element that is unique. I haven't seen it first person yet, but I've seen clips and highlights, and I've watched him over the years, and I've got a lot of respect for him, and I'm going to give him opportunities to go and show what he can do. And he's still learning the ins and outs of the offense, but you can tell mentally he's a smart guy, because everything that we've asked of him, when you break the huddle, he's not asking what to do. He knows what he's doing, and learning the ins and outs of each individual route and play, and so he's going to be a big part of what we do.
Joe, what do you like about the O-line room so far that you've seen this year, and do you think it's one of the more complete O-lines that you've had in your time here?
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence in that group, and like I said, we got to go out and prove it. We can talk about all these different things in here and how many good players we have and how many good coaches we have, but we have to go and prove it on Sundays. Doesn't mean anything if you have a great training camp team. That's not what we're getting paid for. We're getting paid to go and win football games and be productive and play great on Sundays. So we got to go prove it.
You obviously had plenty of games against Myles Garrett. What have you learned going up against him, going into a game like this Sunday that you maybe didn't know, going into your first or second matchup against him?
Yeah, he can win the game if you let him. You have to, number one, game plan around him. Number two, as a quarterback, you have to be aware of where he's at all times with protection IDs, and also know where your quick answer is in whatever concept that you have called, because sometimes he's back there before you can catch the ball, basically, and you have to get it out. So, but we play great rushers a lot. He's one of the best, if not the best. But in this division, you play guys like that a lot. So we'll have a good plan for him. He's going to make plays, and when he does, you just got to hold on to the ball and not make a bad play worse.
Joe, there's been such an emphasis on starting a whole lot better this season, early on in the season. So on the backdrop of that, do you feel any different right now heading into the start of this season?
I mean, I'm very confident. My body's in a place that it hasn't been in years past. So for me personally, I'm excited about that opportunity. We're treating it like any other game. We're not doing anything differently. Obviously, there's an emphasis on the start of this season and then having to win some of these games early, but that comes down to Sundays. Our prep has always been excellent, in my opinion. We're gonna have the right game plan because we have great coaches, and we're gonna know what we're doing when we're out there because we put in the work. It's just about going out and executing those plays and doing the right things on Sunday.
Do you think this is your most normal opener, given your preparation? Who was at practice? How you were practicing? Of the six, do you think this is the most normal?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think, like I said, I think we're in a good spot. I'm excited about the work that we've put in all training camp. I don't know about normal. I don't know what would be abnormal, but I'm really excited about where our team's at and the energy of some of the young guys. I know we have a lot of hungry young players that are out to prove themselves, so I'm excited to see it.
You've obviously known for a while that Jamar's a really good player, but as he took his game to an even higher level last season, is there anything you learned about him?
The great players make really hard stuff look really easy. He just makes it look really easy all the time. He's so explosive and strong. I think I learned more than anything is when in doubt, just find that guy and throw him the ball. Sometimes the look's not going to be perfect, but he's going to find a way to get it done.
You said you've seen, at this point in your career, most of the looks that you're going to see. How often at this stage of your career do you see something where you're like, that's new or I haven't seen that before? And when that happens, is your process of digesting that any different than it was years ago?
Very rarely, I would say. Every team has their own style of defense, and so a defensive coordinator will throw something at you that they haven't necessarily shown on tape for the season, but it doesn't mean you haven't seen it somewhere else. And whenever you see something like that, you bank it and try to find an answer for the next time you see it.
With that said, you face a Jim Schwartz defense that you have to, I'm sure, feel like you got to adjust every single possession. Do you approach it that way?
They're going to throw a wrinkle here and there, but what they do on defense is they're fairly simple. They have really good players, and he is a very, very good coach at, what they're very good at is making everything that they do look like every other thing that they do. And so as a quarterback, you're not really going to know what the coverage is pre-snap. You're going to have to react to it post-snap. That's difficult sometimes. That's kind of the flavor of the league. That's kind of what everybody's trying to do now. He has his own unique way of doing it. I think their corners are some of the best in the league. It's always really hard when we go against them, and then their defensive line is obviously very disruptive, led by 95, but they have other guys that can get after you too. Just watching the games from the past, it's a muddy pocket. It's making tight window throws in a very condensed pocket, often unnatural throwing positions. So you always have to be ready for that.
Is it tougher to swallow the lack of week one success, knowing how close y'all have been? I think like in every year that you've not won a game, it seems like y'all have had a shot at the end to win it. Does that make it tougher to swallow that you only have one in your first 5 years so far?
That's the NFL. Almost every game's gonna come down to under 7 points, one possession game. I think something like 60% of them, somewhere around there. So that's the NFL. You just got to make the plays at the end to go and win it.
Is there one that's maybe more unbelievable than most when you go through the ones over the years?
We've certainly had some that are hard to believe. That's for sure.
You talked before the games against the Ravens about the importance of scoring on every possession and knowing how those games are going to go. Specific to Cleveland, what do you need to do that you've learned in going up against them so many times?
Yeah, you have to get the ball out quick. Try to get it out as fast as you can because those guys up front are coming, and their coach does a good job of sending a pressure here and there that you're not necessarily ready for. They don't pressure us a ton, but when they do, it's usually effective. And I think we're in a good spot of game plan wise of figuring out when and where those are coming from.
Are there teammates you have that you're just really looking forward to seeing what they do this season?
All the young guys, Shamar, D. Knight, Fig. I'm excited to see a lot of these young players go out and prove themselves in this league. I know they're excited for the opportunity. They've been working really hard all offseason. The energy on that side of the ball has been fun to watch throughout training camp. And those guys are just going to continue to get better. They're hungry. They're working hard to get better every single day. So the more reps that they get throughout the season, the better they're going to be.
I know quarterbacks don't typically, focus on the other quarterbacks, but with Joe Flacco being on this other side, I know you faced him before, but what are your thoughts, just about Flacco and his career going up against him, and especially the fact that, he's going to be a 40-year-old quarterback starting week one?
Yeah, I think he throws it better than, number one, a lot of people give him credit for, and I think he's one of the more natural throwers of the football that I've ever seen. He can spin it with the best of them. He's got one of the strongest arms of all time, so he's going to be able to put the ball when and where he wants to put it. He's got to find ways to affect him, move him off of his spot, and I know that our defense will have a good game plan for that.
A bit of a random question, but what's the communication like with the head official over the course of a game? Like as when you get early in the game, like when you establish it, what kind of rapport do y'all have and kind of carry throughout the course of a game?
Depends on the official sometimes. I know all of them usually by name. You have the same ones throughout the season, usually 2 or 3 times. So you get to know these guys, and you like some of them more than others, and you talk to some differently than you do maybe others. But at the end of the day, it's a professional relationship, and I try to voice my opinions in a respectful way, and oftentimes you get respect back when you do it that way, and sometimes you don't. That's the NFL.
Are those relationships and opinions, if you will, do they change at all based on the experience that you have, or is that driven at all by the experience that you have playing while they officiate?
Yeah, I would say that. You certainly have some games that you didn't quite think were officiated correctly, and oftentimes those are Oftentimes, it is repeat offenders, and you know who they are usually, and you adjust accordingly.
Do you wait and see when you go out there on Sunday who it is, or early?
We know early, and every crew is going to have their own emphasis, and so you can go back and look at how many times they threw a certain penalty, and you emphasize that early in the week depending on the crew, and then you also have your own experiences with these guys and adjust accordingly, as I said.
George mentioned that consistency with your routine is a big factor in your success. How much has your routine changed over the years? Has it been pretty much the same? Have you tweaked it a lot?
I would say the rest and relaxation stuff has pretty much stayed the same. I think workout-wise, maintaining my body in that way, I tweak it every year, depending on how I felt the year before. If I feel like I needed to lift heavier, run more, take it easy a couple days, it just kind of depends on the season. This year I'm running a little bit more. I felt like I could use that after last season. I feel like I did that quite a bit and wanted to expand my ability in that way. So, we'll see where that goes and then adjust accordingly after the year.
For football fans, you get a week or so of college football, then you get the lead up to these NFL games. There's obviously an elevated, amount of excitement for fans. What's that excitement like for you heading into week one?
Yeah, it's weird. Last week you get into, you're going through the whole game plan, treating it like week one, and then you have 3 days off, and then you got to snap back into it and get back into game week. And I think the best players, you can turn it off and on like that, but that takes practice and reps. As far as the excitement to get out there, just excited to play football again, excited to get out in front of the fans and show what we've done all off season. That's, at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. You're going and showing everybody the hard work that you've put in over the last 8-9 months to make yourself better in front of the world, live on TV. So that's what sports are. That's why we love them, and I'm excited to go out there and put on a show.
You think this team's got the most approved out of any that you've been on so far?
Say that again?
You think y'all this edition of the Bengals have maybe the most approved compared to previous years? Like, what do you think on that?
I certainly think that the narrative surrounding our team has shifted. I'm not sure. I would say most to prove. I would say that we certainly are trying to go out and win as much as we can. We're putting in a lot of work for it. Like I said, the narrative has certainly shifted, and we'll see where we're at the end of the year.
Those three guys seem to have caught your eye who came in the last 40 days. Dalton, Mike. Those are pretty rare. Those are pretty good players to walk in here in the last minute.
But yeah, I agree, and that is, like you said, rare to be able to get players of that caliber this late in the process. And obviously, you'd like to be able to get them earlier so they can be integrated into the scheme and the team. But they're all pros. We're pros, and at the end of the day, when you're out there on Sundays, you got to be able to play well and execute the play that is called. And those guys are all veterans, know how to play football, and it's really been seamless so far.
Do you feel the benefits of 5 preseason series right now, or is that something that'll manifest itself when you go out there?
Yeah, we'll find out, I guess. It's certainly can't hurt. The more reps you get, the better you're going to be, just like with anything in this world. So we'll find out.
Do you wish you had more reps throughout the preseason games, or do you feel like that was the right amount?
I'm always going to push for more reps. I know I can get better with the more reps that I get. Obviously, you want to be careful with that in the preseason and not put too much risk in meaningless games. But I get better quickly with limited reps. So the more reps I can get, the better I'm going to be.